Hello, and welcome to the Old Farm Bus Podcast. This is the back of the bus session.
Hello and welcome to the Old Farm Bus, Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. We're back, baby, and we're back with a wonderful guest. Really excited about this one. I'm not going to mess your business name up. I've been trying all week. I've been preparing myself to say that word, and I'm just going to knacker it, and I don't want to do that to you. But Maya, welcome to the bus. Yeah! We go mental on here. You're fine. So sorry. I've been a bit rubbish.
No, it's just it's weird, isn't it? Because I think I contacted you the end of last year, and we're like, yeah, we'll get on, and then the year's just flown, hasn't it? Now it's June.
Was it
madness?
The end of last year? About that time?
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
Wow. Yeah.
Mental.
Time has become obsolete for me right now.
Yeah,
I've just had surgery done, and I can now walk a bit, and I'm going to the gym. And I remember being so nervous about this surgery and building up to it. And now I just felt today this really great feeling, esoteric feeling of I've done it. I've got past it and I've moved. And it's good to reflect to that feeling sometimes, isn't it? Because you're like, oh, you do get through all them hurdles. It goes in ebbs and flows. Yeah. It's powerful. So, and this podcast came to be as well. I never thought it was going to happen. Yeah. But can you remember, what did you see? Was it just an IGTV or a little clip of the podcast, and you thought, I can see myself on the back of that bus?
I think I saw Simon Jones.
What an amazing fella that guy is.
And he actually came to me at the time. He came to me for a couple of breathwork sessions.
Oh,
weirdly.
Wow.
So I was like, I wonder if I could go in there and talk about breathwork.
Fantastic. Yeah, I've got a lot of love for that man. Yeah. Absolutely incredible. And now you've said that, the stars have aligned because I can see the picture together. Yeah. Have you worked aligned with him a lot of times then? Have you?
No, not really. I've followed him for ages, obviously. I've loads of respect for him and everything he does. But no, I just saw, because he's really open, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's so open, and he put on his Facebook, I think, that he was having a really tough time and he was looking for different things he could try. And I just said to him, do you want to come to me for a breathwork session? Do you want to give it a go? And he was like, yeah, okay. So,
mate, because that's it. Then you messaged me and I went down your line then. Because a lot of people speak in absolutes like, oh, social media is a terrible thing. We need to get away from it. But actually, if you manicure it and make it for what you want the experience to be, it can be a great thing.
Yeah,
Well, I've been watching all your stuff now. And it's been lovely. I love the way you talk and the way you put yourself across. It's very much what you're wanting to do. And it's so calming. And just you get a lovely bubbly feeling from it. It's beautiful.
I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with social media. I think we all have, really.
Same, completely, but nuanced.
I have to take a little break from it every now and again, so I just find it a little bit too intense sometimes. But I think, like you say, if you're using it for something good, and I just try and come from the heart with everything I do, you know.
I feel that 100%.
So yeah.
When you say the toxic relationship to it, what would some of those consist of? What do you get them experiences from?
I think just being not present enough, you know, just being constantly on your phone all the time, scrolling all the time, and, you know, just not giving yourself enough time to just, like you said, check in with where you are. Look where I am right now, how am I feeling, how far have I come, you know. And you can't do that when you're just mindlessly scrolling all the time. And
you're promoting a business, so is it you're trying to get people on side the business? Are you comparing yourself to other businesses at all? Is it what else is going on there?
There's definitely that comparison trap, isn't there?
It hurts, doesn't it?
But I see it a lot with clients that come to me, that especially through the pandemic as well, they're like, oh, you know, I've not really done anything with the last year, you know, I've not used it constructively. You know, or there's people that are you know, they've taken up running, or they've done this, or they've done that. And I think that's just not helped as well, you know, because we've been in such a weird place, haven't we, the last year. And then seeing other people maybe taking it in a really positive way and doing all these really meaningful things, which is great, but then not everyone's had that experience.
I think what a lot of people fail to forget as well, or fail to think of, is when you're looking at social media, you are just seeing the best parts of what people are up to. They're not showing pictures of when they're sat there feeling uncomfortable, feeling lost, feeling hurt, it's like, look, I've stuck up this new sport, or I've done this new piece of art. And you see probably 10% of what's going on in someone's life, because even that piece of art has taken time to work out and piece together. So you're just seeing the very fine, the end article.
Because I'm quite big as well on there of being really really honest. So if I am having a shit day, like people think, you know, because I'm a holistic therapist and stuff, I've got all my shit together, that I'm calm all the time, I'm happy all the time. No.
Yeah, really?
You know, like,
okay, yeah.
So we're all human, aren't we? So we all have bad days. So I am quite mindful of coming across with that as well, and saying to people, you know, like, I am having a really bad day today, or, you know, I've not been checking in and doing what I'm not practicing what I've been preaching. You know, I need some time out to do my meditating, my breath work and stuff like that.
Of course. Here's my truth, and I'm just going to give it you out in full. I think if you give that really authentic, honest self, people can actually learn from that more than anything. Because there's so many times where I looked at certain people, pedestaled them, and it made me feel shittier, to be honest, because I was just like, I bet they're the end article as well. I'm never going to get to that point, and then you beat yourself up further. So for people like you, I've got a few coaches as well online. I feel a lot of PTs and so on, and the ones I really enjoy listening to are the ones that say, yeah, I've had a bit of a bad day today, to be honest, and here's the truth of it, but here's how I'm going to overcome it, rather than just seeing shredded abs. Look at me, come and join this course and this is what you're going to be.
Because I've got a real issue with like toxic positivity as well. Like I just think there's a lot of that, especially in my business as well. You know, with, you know, just be happy or good vibes only and all that kind of stuff. And I just think that can be quite dangerous, because we aren't meant to be happy all the time. We all have bad days. We all have mental health struggles. Everyone does, you know. Completely. So I think that's important.
Could you imagine isolating depressed people to that point? Because we can get into this story now, but if you've tasted that level of depression, you've been to those lows of them lows, for somebody to just say positive vibes only,
just
man,
smile, just be happy.
Oh god, it actually got me then. I felt a little bit sick. It's horrible. There's no chance you're getting listened to. There's no chance they're coming for that ride, and that is damaging. 100%. I mean, so I didn't dare say the business. What is the business?
So
Selenite, I think.
Selenite.
I did it. Selenite Well-being. Okay.
So
I should trust myself more.
You should just go for it. So I'm a holistic therapist. So I do like different treatments. Like I do therapeutic massage, Reiki. I'm an aromatherapist. But recently I've branched off into doing breath work. So I've started trying to do more of that now. But because of COVID, I did my training right at the start. So I've kind of done all of my sessions online, which has worked. It's been fine, and it's still really powerful. But I'm now faced with the idea of being able to do them in person, which is dead exciting.
Exciting is a great word.
Yeah, and nervous.
I was going to say, there's different ways of putting it, because I've felt that recently. I've had schools started to get back in touch and like, we're going to do a workshop again. Are you coming in? And there is that buzz of anticipation, but if I let the negative side of Mikey come out, it's terror to some level, because it's been so long out the game, and to know what you're going to say, how you're going to teach, how you're going to do it. I'm sure when you get in, you just flow and you go back into that state, but I'm guessing a lot of people are feeling this at the minute.
I think so, yeah.
So I like rewiring, let's say lots of W words. Rewriting how you look at it. But for me, instead of going, because I've had this chat with Chrissy recently, I was like, can you help me build a more positive mindset towards it? Because I know the way I'm feeling, it seems to be very worried. Is the good word of looking at it. So I needed her to sort of just coach me back out of it, like, remember them feelings you got before and so on. Is that how you're feeling then, or you've had to speak to yourself?
I think I've just got to trust to know what I'm doing, and trust it's going to hopefully make a difference and people are going to be on board with it. I think for me as well, because it's something not a lot of people know about, there's that hurdle of actually getting people to come and take part as well. So I've got a session in Fusion Yoga Lounge, in Ripley at the end of the month.
Where's that? In Ripley? Whereabouts? Paint me a picture.
Do you know where Gym Fairs?
Go to Gym Fair.
Literally around the corner from there.
Oh, cool.
So it's not too far. So yeah, I'm just trying to get it out there at the minute, just kind of what actually breathwork is, what it can do for you, because it's changed my life. I know that sounds really cheesy, but it has. So now I'm like, yeah, let's get it out there. Let's see if we can get more people taking part. So.
The practices that you were doing before, do you say breathwork sort of feels superior or more powerful than what you were into before?
I feel like it's the missing piece, because I've kind of done nutrition, so I've done that sort of side of things, and then I started bringing in obviously the treatments, and then I qualified to become a meditation teacher, so I had that aspect of it as well. But I just felt there was something missing, and in my personal practice as well, I just couldn't go where I needed to go. I never felt like I was fully present. And then I did a breathwork session online, and it was like, oh my God, this is like something clicked. And I just lay there at the end, and I was so blissed out and chilled out, and so just came home to myself, I guess. Like I felt so present in my own body, and I was like, wow, like I need to know more about this.
Wow.
You know, I need to get this out to my clients as well. And so I feel like it just pulls everything together.
Really?
And ties everything up, I guess.
What made you go down that path? What made you press that button and click to the breathwork?
Breathwork. Well, it is a bit of a buzzword at the moment. Like it is becoming like more and more people are talking about it. But I discovered Wim Hof. I don't know if you know, crazy Dutch man.
He's a wild man, isn't he?
Yeah, crazy. So I dabbled a little bit in his kind of breathing techniques for a bit. And then just on social media, I discovered a few breath workers and started following them. And I was like, oh, I really like their work. I really like what they're doing.
My picture of Wim Hof is in an ice tub.
Yeah.
Have you had to do these practices with your breath work, going into like cold temperature or extreme temperatures?
You don't have to. Obviously, that's a big part of his technique. So within conscious breathing, there's lots of different branches. So I guess with him, he does cold exposure as well, with the breath work. I had my first ice bath a couple of weekends ago, actually.
Wow.
And that's a really big one for me, because cold is like my biggest fear.
I hate it.
I am terrible with the cold.
Seasonal depression for me.
Yeah, I get that really bad. And also as a kid, I nearly passed out a couple of times in the cold. So I'm just really bad with the cold. I found out a little while ago, actually, my body temperature is quite low, like naturally. So yeah, the cold was like something that terrified me. So yeah, to do the ice bath a couple of weeks ago, I was like, yes.
Where did you go to do that?
I just did it at home.
Oh, you got some ice in the bath? And
so my husband did it as well. And yeah, we just bought loads of bags of ice. Yeah, and did it at home.
This is great, because a lot of people probably feel they can't do certain things because they're picturing, I need to go to Peru into this campsite of a retreat, a special place, and you're like, get your bath, get some ice cubes, pour it in, go wild.
Yeah, I mean, just having a cold shower.
Yeah. I got into doing
amazing.
that.
How did you find it? Did it make you feel good?
Definitely. It's more the mindset thing for me. The feeling that at the start of the day I've tackled something, I've done something I don't want to do. It put me in that idea of, well, I've done that, let's take on the day then. What else can I achieve? Genuinely, that it was quite powerful in that. But also physically, I did feel quite good inside. It was you have to get through it, don't you?
Yeah.
My shower seems to go really over cold though, I'm sure. It's next levels. It's these farm waters. I don't know what it's picking up. But honestly, the first time I did it, I couldn't breathe. It was, and that's probably what you're getting into. I'm hyperventilating. You must say, like, let's go in and just really present yourself in there.
Because I coped with it much better than my husband, but it's because I used my breath work. So I was like, just breathe through it. But yeah, I mean, you have to build yourself up to it. Like, I've been doing cold showers for about a year. But yeah, I am hoping to go on a proper retreat at some point and do an actual proper ice bath. I'm sure that is going to be next level though.
Yeah, that's for the hardcorers.
Yeah.
And they all start overdoing each other.
Yeah.
You can do 10 minutes, watch this. 2 hours in.
Yeah.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah. You do have to be careful though. You are supposed to only start off like, I think you're supposed to not go any further than 2 minutes.
Don't take any advice from me on this podcast, by the way, for this, guys. I am not the expert. please go and do your own research and listen to Maya.
Yeah, I reckon like if you've not done one before, like you wouldn't want to stay in more than 2 minutes.
Because I felt that with, again, saunas. I'd go into saunas a lot of the time, but me being tenacious, I turn it into competition. But then I found out in Sweden and Russia and certain places, they have competitions of who can last the most.
And
it can't be safe.
They put their babies in a sauna.
Sorry?
They put their babies in saunas. No. Yeah, I found that out. Like in like Finland and Sweden and places, from newborn, they put the babies in saunas.
I mean, I know there's a lot of health aspects to it. I'd be hashing it up if I could go down the paths of what's behind the sauna, but I listen to a lot of podcasts where they speak of them very highly in regard. So I went out my way to start going into saunas a little bit more and putting my body through different temperatures, like Wim Hof says, of going into ice baths and then going into a sauna and so on. But I know if you don't do your research and you don't listen to the professionals, it can be very dangerous for you. For people just throwing themselves in around.
I was a bit like when I now I've done the training, like I do think sometimes, because you can get the app, you get the Wim Hof app, that's what I've got on my phone, and it's a really powerful technique. So you just think like, actually, I don't know how safe it is if people are doing it at home on their own, you know, without someone with them. But
I remember being in a sauna once, and I must have done 25 minutes, maybe. That's long.
That's a long time.
Maybe 20. It felt, but at some point in the 15 minutes to 25, the minutes were hours. And I just really wanted to push it. But there was also something in that very spiritual. I was pushing my body through an extreme that it's not been through before. And I was seeing different patterns, different colours. I was going inside, and you had to be very present in there.
100%.
Just want people to be safe while they're doing those powerful searchings. I felt, and when I came out, that relief and release. Oh man, it was. I can picture it now. It's an incredible moment, and you do for the rest of the day as well. You feel like you're floating on a cloud. Absolutely incredible. I mean, we'll come back into this. I just want to know where your journey started and why it went down these sort of paths.
I guess originally, like with the whole holistic approach to life, it was, I had a really bad like teenage years. Like I suffered really bad with mental health and my early 20s, and it got to the point where I was like, I could start taking a load of medication, you know, antidepressants and stuff, or I could start to just look at alternative way. It just wasn't for me, and I'm not saying there's not a place for that, because there is, but for me, I just didn't want to go down that route.
Did you feel yourself very firmly have that belief of no, definitely not for me?
I get it. I get these gut feelings about things, and I'm like, no, I have to listen to my intuition with this. And for me, I just was like, it's just not going to work. Like the root cause, like wherever this is coming from, isn't going to be solved by me taking medication and just kind of putting a plaster over it, I guess. You know,
I mean, that sounds like even before this, then you were much a thinker. Because going into your gut and listening to your intuition is a big part of it all, and the healing process. But to know that at such a young age, that's been given a gift in some regard. I've always had that. I've always had this thing of like just listening to my heart. I've always gone with my heart on everything. But I kind of don't know how to be any other way. Do you know what I mean? So then I started looking at like a holistic sort of approach to things, I guess. I got into nutrition because I had a really bad relationship with food. I had like eating disorders and just wasn't very healthy, drank too much, just didn't look after myself very well. So I started kind of getting into nutrition, eating the right stuff, practicing yoga, exercise. I began running. I discovered running, and just slowly, like it's been a long process, but bit by bit I've just kind of got myself back together, I guess. And then I was like, now I want to help other people, you know. Now I want to help other people. I think that's where it ends up a lot of the time, doesn't it? What it's done for you, and when you get to a certain part of it, you go, I need people in on this with me. I feel I've found a gem here. There's something so special rooted in that. I need to share it. I think that's very beautiful.
But then with the breath work, because I feel like that's just taken that next, that's like gone up a whole 10 levels to do adding the breath work in. But I discovered that when I was pregnant with my first child, because I did hypnobirthing.
Yeah, Chrissy did that.
And a little bit of that is breath work, not massively, but it's a bit to do with your breath. And I used it through my first labour, And I got so into it. I became quite obsessed with breath work then, like using my breath. And it was the most beautiful labour. I literally felt euphoric. Like,
you must have really gone into it.
Yeah, my husband was with me and he was like, I literally can't believe like you're in labour, because I was like on a cloud. Like, I'm not saying it wasn't uncomfortable, but I just felt completely in control of my body, completely like calm. And I almost felt like I was floating above my body at times.
Wow.
So it went all tits up at the end, and I got rushed in to have surgery. So it wasn't like the end I wanted. But the labour part of it was just like beautiful.
Wow.
So I was like, wow, so the breath is really powerful. And then I kind of put it to one side, I guess. I became a mum and got really distracted with that. And then discovered it a couple of years ago, kind of picked it back up again.
Mate, I mean,
yeah.
And just going to that other place where you were young and you did the root cause and root searching, can you go into a little bit, not to go fully psychoanalyze if you don't want to, but why did you fall so hard? Why did you go into depression?
I got really badly bullied.
Mate, it's a bullying factory school sometimes, aren't they?
Yeah. I never really felt, until recently actually, I never really felt like I belonged anywhere. So I've always struggled with feeling like I don't fit in. And I think that's something a lot of people probably feel like. But I've always had friends, like I've always had good friends. But I always felt like I didn't quite belong. And I was always like looking for something. I don't know what I was looking for. But I just always felt like I'd set myself a goal, I'd get it, and then I still wouldn't feel like happy or fulfilled. Do you know what I mean?
So when everyone was sort of doing either a mainstream thing or doing a thing that was the consensus of what you do, you always thought, why are we doing that? It doesn't feel quite right. There's something icky inside about it. I very much relate to you on that.
Yeah, and then I was into music at school. I wasn't like your typical girl. Like, I was quite a tomboy. I was really grungy. I was into music.
Grungy.
Yeah.
Can't quite picture it yet, mate. I'm
big
being
baggy
honest.
Jeans and all
I'm
that.
not.
Yeah,
I'm looking at you now. I'm like, not seeing it.
There's still part of me that's still there, but
I'll go deep inside the imagination.
Yeah. So I hung around with boys a lot because they were like more into music. So most of my friends were boys, but I got really badly bullied by girls at school.
Okay.
And it got really bad, like to the point where I even like considered taking my own life a few times. Like, it was really dark.
How old were you at this point?
Like 16, something like that. 15,
That's
16.
very young, isn't it?
Yeah.
To envision, because I work in schools from primaries to secondaries to prisons, but when I go into those sort of, especially deprived areas and local areas, and the way even primary school kids are talking about depression and that sort of deep pain, it's unimaginable. But I was also there, so I can imagine it.
Yeah.
But for a lot of my friends who I talk to about it, and my partner and my family, they're like, no chance, no way.
Yeah, I mean, I do work with kids now, like I do breathwork sessions with kids now, and I've got kids coming to me with anxiety now, and they're like 8, 9 years old. So, but yeah, and then I kind of went off the rails a bit. I was a bit of a bad teenager.
You went for it.
Yeah. So
what would going off the rails constitute as far as you want to go?
Dabbling in various things to kind of numb everything, I guess.
Would they be of the mind opening variety, or would they be mind closing?
Probably mind opening, I guess.
Okay, I get
you. To the point when I went to uni, I was a bit like over it all, because I got to uni and then everyone was like, I took a year out as well before I went to uni, between finishing school and going to uni, and I went travelling.
Amazing.
So I had that year out. So when I got to uni, I was a bit like, I had all these people that had come straight from school, never lived away from home, so they were like, ready to party, and I was a bit like, I've kind of done it. I'm a bit over it now. But yeah.
I mean, let's go to travelling then. Where did you go? Where were you at?
So I was born in Holland, and then I moved to Bhutan, which is like a little country next to Tibet.
When you were talking of not having a conventional childhood and so on, I'm getting it now. I'm seeing it.
Yeah, so we were kind of like in the remote Himalayas, like we used to have like things airlifted in, like we kept our own animals, grew our own veg, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, proper different childhood. So I was there till I was 4, and then I've moved abroad and come back mainly to Asia throughout my childhood. So I went back there when I went travelling, but I just did a bit more of Asia. So I did 6 months travelling around, backpacking around.
Okay. How did you find it? How were you out there?
Amazing. I think like difficult.
Hostels? Were you staying in those?
Yeah, a bit of both really. But there were moments where I wanted to come home.
Why? What was that feeling?
I think India was a massive shock.
I mean, beautiful, blonde.
Well, yeah, I had that.
I was saying I'm going because I did a lot of travelling, and you meet a lot of different people who, when they travel.
Yeah.
And India, with a lot of my female friends, all come back with the exact same story.
Well, I wasn't travelling on my own.
Okay.
So I was with my ex when I went travelling. So I think that probably helped.
Yeah.
But I still did get a lot of, people taking photos of me.
That sort of thing,
yeah. Which I had when I was a kid.
Yeah,
my mum said, like if we had to go, me and my sister had to go and get a haircut, they'd all be like fighting over who was going to cut our hair, because obviously blonde hair, they're like, So I'd kind of had that all my childhood anyway, like people staring at me and, she's a bit different. But yeah, no, India's just a massive culture shock. Huge culture shock.
I mean, that's my friend who's married went there with his partner. And again, you look quite similar actually, you and her.
Yeah.
Both very lovely and beautiful.
Oh.
And yeah, he said that they got, as soon as they arrived, they were asking for pictures with, and get out the way, we want your girlfriend here. Yeah. But it was just that lovely look. And there was sometimes she'd go to cinemas, they'd be sitting in there, and everyone would just swarm around to sit near her, like she was a deity or something.
I went to the Taj Mahal, and there were people in there taking photos of me.
Yeah, no,
rather than Taj Mahal, I was like, what the? Do you know what I mean? The Taj Mahal was like there, and they were like all taking photos of me. I was like, this is so weird.
When they say travelling broadens the mind, and it can really sculpture a part of you, do you feel that? Would you, with your kids, with people that you work with, would you say travelling is a must in essence?
I think so, yeah, 100%. I'd love to do more travelling. I'd love to take my kids travelling at some point. I still have moments now where I'm like, I just want to sell everything and just go travelling with them, and then the sensible me kicks in and goes, I don't know if you can right now. I've still not completely put it aside at some point maybe. But I think like my interest in like Eastern kind of medicine and that sort of stuff probably stems from my childhood, being around all of that. So I had massive deja vu when I went to places when I was travelling. Like, I was like, whoa, I've been here before. Like, I can't remember it. But I wish I could remember more of it, because I was only 4 when I left. So there's still a lot of it that I don't remember, which I wish I could remember more. But I think it has affected me.
Do you have them conversations with your parents about it?
Yeah, we've got luckily they've made so many videos of us. So we've got loads of family videos of me there. So they're cool to watch. But they met travelling. They were both working in Nepal.
Really? Okay. What were they doing there?
So my dad was an irrigation engineer. So he was setting up like water systems for people so they could grow crops.
It's pretty damn cool.
And then my mum was just doing voluntary service overseas. It's really cute. They met and they used to trek for 3 days to see each other.
What?
Yeah. And that's my name is Nepalese. So Maya means love in Nepali. So that's why I've got a Nepalese
You're filling me up. You're filling me up.
So that's where my name comes from.
Stunning. And then where were you actually born?
In Holland.
Holland was the birthplace. Yeah,
never been back there though, so I need to go back at some point.
Wow, that would be pretty impressive to go back and see the birthplace and see for them 4 years where you were raised.
Yeah, my sister's been back to Bhutan.
Okay.
Since, which she found like crazy, like going back to our old house and things like that. I went back to Nepal because I lived in Nepal for a bit. When I went travelling, I did go back there.
I mean, how you're talking of it, and it's just all over, sporadic, beautiful. I love it. What an incredible existence to be in.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, are there any negative points towards that though? Do you know, not sort of having a settlement and not having somewhere that you base yourself? Can that be damaging to some people?
I think, to be honest, I think especially it was me really and my sister that made my mum and dad sort of stop and do something different, because
well, you pack it in now.
Yeah, it got to the point where I was kind of going towards my teenage years, and I was just sick of moving schools and like being uprooted and going to different places, and so they were like, yeah, we'll stop and we'll do something different now. But yeah, I think that stability is important when you're a kid, I think, isn't it? So I do think about that with my own little boy sometimes, because he's quite sensitive, to be honest. So I think, and he likes structure, he likes stability, he doesn't like change very much. So I think if I was to uproot him and take him around the world, I'm sure there's parts of that he really wouldn't like. Do you know what I mean? So you do have to factor all these things in, but I still don't regret it. Like, I'd still...
With your parents and you being a parent, it's hard positioning yourself, isn't there? Because whatever you do, there's going to be some form of repercussion.
Yeah.
You know, if it's very all structured, that child's going to grow up to really liking structure and not wanting to be outside of structure.
Yeah, so true, yeah.
And then if it's just all fluent and whatever happens, that's part of the psyche then, and it can be beautiful, but then, like you say, it can be very too open to some degree.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the answer always comes down to balance and the equilibrium, doesn't it? But I feel whatever journey you take, there are going to be them repercussions in the end, and it's just having that sort of damage control maybe with parenting, and later on in the life having tools to equip them that if this is how you feel now, I'm going to help you in this way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I'm very new into it, as you've seen today with Ella. She's only 7 months. Yeah. But I've had all these new thoughts come to me, and with podcasts, it was very much Joe Rogan, that man stuff, like boxing. But now it's all gone down to like parenting, and I'm finding these sort of conversations very interesting now, like even the school system and what path I want her to go down. It's hard, isn't it?
Oh, it's like a whole, because I'm just put a 6-week program together for schools, like a wellbeing program, because I think at the minute, after the last year or so, kids' mental health is like being massively affected, so they really need it. But getting into schools is so hard. So difficult.
Have you been into some though? Have you?
No, I've done a couple online, like Zoom sort of sessions, but not actually into a school yet.
I reckon I could help you on that journey.
There's a couple.
There's a reason people path and go to different paths, isn't there?
But I'm like proper passionate about getting this out to kids, because we need to be teaching kids these self-help tools now.
Completely.
You know, and we need to be talking about mental health more with them now, because there's still a huge stigma attached to it. And just with feelings as well, like there's this whole thing of like, especially with boys, because I've got 2 sons, you know, boys don't cry, you know, they're not allowed to show their emotions and all this. So I really, really feel strongly about that. That's so damaging.
Why do you think we went down there, like as a civilization, as a society, this toxic masculinity? Why do you think it took shape in such a way?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I really don't know where like this come from, but yeah, it's that whole thing, and the men are the strong ones, and you know, they've got to keep it all together, and it's not the case. Is it?
I completely agree. I had it in my life, really, like not being able to share my emotions with my dad as a father figure, and it did then have some fallbacks. I think with everything, like we say again, there's balance, and there's probably some really good with your masculine and feminine energy, being able to understand them, put them across and utilize them in certain ways. It'd be very healthy to have them conversation, but we like you say, we don't look at this in school, we don't look at this in education system, and I don't understand why that is. Because it seems to me, if you can work out very much who you are, what you're about, how you operate, you're going to find your position in the world a lot quicker than just going into a place and saying, what do you want to be, what do you want to do?
It's always what do you want to be, and what kid knows what they want to be.
I need to know who I am to find out what I want to be.
And we should be teaching them, like, we're so disconnected from ourselves, so disconnected from our bodies, you know, like our bodies hold this like wisdom, you know, and we just don't listen to it a lot of the time. That's where the breathwork comes in. But yeah, I think we should be teaching our kids more about that, you know, like respecting their bodies, listening to their bodies, and what can they do to make themselves feel happy? Do you know what I mean?
I think happiness seems to be the poignant point that everyone's trying to aim towards. And the thing is, people don't know what happiness is. It feels, it's a very elusive term. But when you as an individual has built up an idea of what it is to you, then you've got something to aim for then.
Exactly.
And I think people like yourself and myself and Jonesy and so on, we're all trying to help people go on and embark on that path together, but we've just found a different route of helping them on that way. So it's like going to a fair, isn't it? And you do a little bit of breathing work, come to me, I'll teach you to throw a rhyme together, Jonesy will teach you some, and I've found along the way, the more I've manicured my social media and I've decided I just want to listen to stuff that's helping me find that point of happiness, it's really empowering. It's really empowering. And that's what we need to start teaching. I'm going to get you in some schools. Or we need to get you down here. We need to get some workshops together.
Because I did a family one on Monday in a wood, and I was like, I need to come down here and do one.
There's so much to walk about. We can put some stuff on in here as well. It's going to be awesome. I'm really glad we can collaborate together.
100%. But
and so then going through this history that you've done and being all over the place, elusive time, and then going through the terrible teens, so you've reached depression, you've been badly hurt by bullying, which has left you very outcast. Then you're going into substance.
When I lost two boyfriends to drugs.
Really?
As well, not after we'd broken up, but it was still like massively. Well, they took their own lives, but it was because of drug abuse, basically. So, which I've never really talked about massively, to be honest, because I wasn't with them at the time. But it's still like, whoa, do you know what I mean?
Of course.
And also, I grew up, like when we moved back to the UK, we were living in a little town. And you know what little towns can be like. And I was like, I need to get out of here.
We in one now.
I was like, I need to break free and get out of here. And it still depresses me now when I go back like 20 years later and people are still doing the same things. And I'm like, do you not like want to just maybe try something new?
I've got a different look now because I've been out and seen the world a little bit. I've got a big nostalgia because some of the people around this area, and it can be quite backwards and they can be a bit stuck in their way, but somewhat because they've succumbed to it, they seem to be so in love with it as well. And for me, going out with it, I've decided to go in the loving side of my nature and the compassionate side and just, do you know what? I'm not going to become it, but I'm going to play with it when I'm around it. Do you know what I mean?
You're right. It's, do you know, if people are happy with that, that's cool. It just, for me, I was like, I need to go do something else.
Because a big part of my nature, when I went through the substance stage and so on, I got quite latched to. I love Russell Brand and how he talks and a few others, but they spoke of another way that I'd never thought of before. And I was so passionate about, oh my God, you're right. I wanted everyone to be on that mission. I was like, what is up with you? You idiots. Why don't you think like this? And as I've matured a little bit and come on with age and had more experience, I've got more of an understanding towards it now, and I'm like, well, you know, I do another podcast with my mate Zach, who's a PT, called Words and Wisdom, and our disclaimer now is the people we're talking to are the ones that are falling or fallen, and we want to help you and lift you. If you're happy with your life in every which way and you're on your journey, cool, we're on it. And I don't feel I need to convert anymore, and I think that was a big toxic part of my nature at one stage.
I can feel you with that, with like being vegan. Because when I first went vegan, I was very much like that. Why is, like, you know, like you go on this mission of like, how are people still eating meat, and why can't they see? And you know, I take such a different approach to it now. I'm just like, you do you, I'll do me. Like, I think it's important to educate people. I think it's important for people to know where their food comes from and the story behind the food. But if you've got all those facts and you still want to do it, that's cool.
They're a lot more open to listen though, aren't they? Do you know when you've not made them feel wrong in their approach and they feel understood in how they want to act and how they want to live their lives, but then you can give them a little bit of knowledge that they might not be aware to, then they're sort of like, oh, actually,
But
I
it's-
kind of like what you're saying here.
Yeah, and it's a contradiction, isn't it? When you're trying to lead like a compassionate life, where you're trying to be like compassionate and caring to all living things, and then you're being really aggressive
Yeah.
to people. It's kind of a bit, do you know what I mean?
Catch-22
Yeah.
doesn't fulfill the agenda
Yeah.
truly, and I think that is, it becomes fake, and it becomes sort of just rhetoric that you're spilling out, and you're not actually feeling it anymore, but it's what you've attached yourself to. You built an identity out of that, so you're just demanding then. And you're like, well, this is who I am, and anybody outside this shape are out of my tribe. And I've been there. I totally understand it, but I think it's better when you try and shape yourself outside of tribes and outside of teams.
You just work on you, you know, basically.
My favourite quote, and it's always going to be the change you want to see.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those quotes where most quotes, I think, and affirmations, you could shift a little bit or shape and change a little bit and go, nah, I see what you were saying, but what about this?
Yeah.
But be the change you want to see. Every time I go back to it, I think, it's like the perfect quote.
Yeah.
Because if I'm living a better, happier existence, it emanates, it broadens outwards.
Yeah.
And that's who you need to be.
Yeah,
And
100%.
when I notice myself being grumpy or promoting that and seeing that energy spill over, I really have to go inside. I have to check in and go, well, what am I giving out to Chrissy now? What am I giving out to my family and my friends?
Yeah. And
I need to think about that.
I 100% as well think you get what you put out into the world. Like, you know, I find in my life where I've gone through periods where I'm being dead positive and like heart-centered, I just seem to attract all these amazing things. It just happens. And then I find when I do get into a little like hole where I'm just a bit more negative and a bit more, things just, it's almost like I start to repel things, you know, things just don't come my way, you know. So I think,
Have you watched The Secret or read the book of The Secret?
no.
Again, it's about the power of that mindset of building it up, projecting out into the universe what you want, and it'll come back to you.
Yeah.
There's another word for that. Can't remember it. It's a documentary on it, but my friend is very into it, and I'm of healthy skepticism towards things. I like listening and taking in the knowledge that they're giving me, but I won't just attach myself to it anymore, because I've done that to conspiracy theories. I've done that to so many things, so now I just want to be an open listener. But what I do think to that is, if you believe in it and the way it can power your life, the way you can channel yourself, then make it a belief system. Do you know what I mean? It seems important to do so.
Yeah.
It's better than the other, the adverse to it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you're not hurting anyone else, you know, and you found something that's working for you, then just do it, you know.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I think that's a Simpsons quote. Just do it. I used to have a poster. With the breath work, could I just ask, and for the viewers and listeners, a few techniques then that they could try now or go home with and go away with?
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll do a little one together at the end, I reckon.
Okay,
Take
yeah,
you
that
through a
sounds
little breathwork
ace.
session. So, yeah, I mean, there's obviously like, under the umbrella term of breathwork, there's loads of different types of breathwork. So depending on what you want to get from it, would depend on the kind of techniques you use. So I get people coming to me a lot with anxiety, and I obviously do a lot of breathwork that's going to calm the nervous system and just settle them. But what I've specialised in, what I'm trying to get out, is something called conscious connected breathwork, which is an open mouth breathing technique. It's really powerful, it's really strong. It alters your state of consciousness. So with that, you can have so many different, it can affect you physically, emotionally. You can have connection like with source, with spirit. It can be so varied depending on what you need to get from the breath at the time. So you lie down for usually about half an hour or so. You usually breathe to music, and music's a massive part of it. So I spend a lot of time doing the playlists and putting the music together depending on the theme of the breathe, because we usually breathe around a theme. And then I might bring touch as well in. So I might bring touch, I might put my hand on someone. If I feel like there's some emotion there that needs to come out and that's struggling to come out, I might help them with that. But it helps to release stored emotion in the body. So when we're like, when we're sort of swallowing down our emotions and we're not letting them out, they stay in the body, they're there trapped in the body. So when we breathe in this way, we're able to release these emotions. So I've had sessions where I've like gone in, thought, oh, yeah, I'm in a really, really, really good place right now. I'm really happy. Been 2 minutes into the breathe and I'm like uncontrollably sobbing.
Wow.
And then at the end, I feel like so light and just free. So I've just got rid of a load of crap, basically. I just breathed away a load of shit. You can feel really angry. I've gone in sessions where I've like felt really angry. And then sometimes you just go in there and you don't feel a lot at all. But at the end of it, you usually always feel really present and a lot lighter. You can feel high. You can feel really euphoric.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, getting high on your own supply. Like, this is what I say to people.
Love
like,
that.
it's natural. It's not going to hurt you. It's you that's doing it. There's no better way to get high.
Yeah. Because a lot of people do go to substance to get that feeling, and particularly psychedelics to experience the other. And that's the one thing I want people to understand. And it's just actually the answers are in you.
Yeah.
They're all there. They've existed all this time along.
Yeah.
And to some degree, real degree, making them happen in your own way, searching for them a little bit deeper, a little bit longer, not being forced into an awakening or into a different way of thinking, is a lot long term lasting for you. It's a lot better to go down that.
What I say to people is that you're the medicine. And what
That's
I say
beautiful.
is,
I like that.
The breath. So we take thousands of breaths every day. Like subconsciously, we're breathing all of the time. And it's something that the reason I love it is because it's accessible. Everyone breathes. So it's something that every single person can tap into and use to their advantage.
Yeah.
So when we start to consciously breathe, so we can, there's only two things our body can do, like consciously and subconsciously, blinking and breathing. So when we start to consciously breathe and we become aware of our breath and we start to use it, we can change the way we feel. We can change our physical health. It has an impact on every area of our well-being, basically.
Never thought of those two things before. You've just blown my mind a little bit there. Yeah, blinking and consciously breathing and unconsciously breathing. Because I was thinking of all the other things that we do unconsciously, but I was like, I can't force myself to my gut function to work in a certain way. I wish I could because I'm celiac, so I need it to. That is absolutely fascinating. I mean, you mentioned at the very start, it's going in with an awareness of what you want to get out of it.
Yeah.
So do you have to have quite a long conversation with people before you go in about what they're after?
Yeah, I mean, if I do a group breathe, I usually come up with a theme. And I usually say to people, breathe around the theme if it resonates with you. If not, you go with what comes up for you. Like, use the breath as your guide.
What would a typical theme be?
So the one I'm doing at the end of the month is called Return to Self, because it's literally just about coming home to your body, coming home to yourself, remembering who you are under all those layers, you know. Because for me, breathwork, like with my training, a big part of it was personal practice. So having to regularly do breathing every single week, conscious connected breathwork, and I feel like it's just been this slow, like peeling away of layers to the point where I now got to a place where I'm like, I remember who I am, you know, I remember why I'm here, what I'm about, you know. So, and with that's come loads of confidence, and it's just been really good.
I mean, one of my favourite lines in a song ever, and it sort of, this song saved me, but this particular line, it was like, you've got to lose your mind before you find it, and when you finally find it, you find out you never lost it at all. There's a natural flow that's attached to your soul. I could have gone the whole song then, but it was really powerful. And again, when I was going through a bit of an awakening maybe 4 or 5 years ago, it's a really powerful one. Didn't have a clue who I was at all. It was like the Joseph Campbell story. Have you heard of that? The hero's journey. And I really lost myself at one stage, got to the lowest of lows. But when you come back round, it's the same person at the end, but just with this newfound knowledge, something new to take away with you. And is that what this is sort of going towards then?
Yeah, I mean, with this journey, like at the end of last year, from nowhere, I just got crippling anxiety again. I was throwing up. I was like, where's this come from? It was the breath work. It had like unraveled these like memories basically that I'd stored away that I didn't even, because day to day, like there can be things in it. Someone said to me once, like, you don't remember the first time a dog barked at you, but it's there in your subconscious. And to me, it's stored away there. So there can be all these things that are triggering us day to day and affecting the way we see ourselves, the way we show up for ourselves, that might have happened to us years ago, like in our childhood, for instance, are still having an impact on us. And when we breathe in this way, it helps reach these different parts of your subconscious. So you can start to release like trapped trauma in the body. So you can start to release these powerful like things that have been holding you back, you know.
I'm coming on board. You're taking me with you.
Yeah.
Getting on the ship together.
So yeah, I had this couple of months at the start of the year where I felt freaking awful. Like I felt like I was dying. That's dramatic, but you know, when your anxiety's that bad.
Yeah, I've been there.
And then I just kept breathing. I changed the way I breathed. I felt like the conscious connected breath was too strong for me, so I started doing more gentler practices, and then came out the other side and just felt amazing afterwards, you know, because felt like I just shed a layer, I guess, you know.
What are you getting when you're working with people? Are you having incredible turnarounds? Are you having really beautiful experiences with them?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm only just starting to be able to do that with people because of COVID. But like I've done breathwork sessions online for like 60 people that have been breathing together, and they've had the most powerful like breakthroughs, and that's online when you're not even face to face.
That's hilarious on Zoom. You're just looking in different boxes, and one person down here is having this esoteric experience, godlike.
No, the end of it, like. Yeah, you know, I don't know, like people, I don't know, like someone who's like grieving has been able to like see the person they've lost and actually had this moment where they've connected with them and they've gone, okay, I'm at peace with that, I can let it go now. Or, there's loads of stories I could tell you, not just from me, but from other facilitators.
Of course.
And the thing is as well, a lot of people like, they don't like talking. You know, not everyone is a talker. So if they could have years of talking therapy and then go and do a couple of breathwork sessions and they've let go of loads more just in them 2 sessions, you know.
Gain the same clarity and a completely different way of going about it.
Clarity is a big one you get, because you quite often get that where you finish the session and like maybe a day or so later you start to see things more clearly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like it's kind of put things in perspective for you, or you've been able to kind of, get clarity on something, I guess. But...
I went to a lot of therapy, and I am a talker. I like putting it all out there. But there did feel a certain point where I felt I'd done all the soul searching, I'd done all the reasons why I had such a childhood and why I had such repercussions from that childhood. And then I felt clarity from it, but afterwards I thought, I need more to this. I could do with some techniques and tools to deal with them trials and tribulations I went through. So breathwork seems like a very important one I might start dabbling in.
Yeah, the thing is as well with trauma is it's like, it's not, we think of trauma as being like an event that's happened to you, but it's the way your body responds to that event. So like it's to do with how it's affected your nervous system. So so it's a physical thing. So when you breathe, you're able to actually tap into your nervous system, and you're able to actually release these things that are like stored in your body. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, completely.
So you can talk about something, but then sometimes that's not enough, because you need to actually get in there and you need to actually get it out physically. You need to let it out. I
was saying how breathwork's sort of a bit of a taboo word sometimes now, the way it's been brought into mainstream sight. But how can people dismiss it? Because, you know, one of our biggest killers, very known fact, is stress. It releases, I can't remember, is it cortisol into the blood and so on? And scientifically, now we can all go by science, and the consensus in science is get rid of stress in your life. And another thing of science has always said, meditation and breath work has proven to really help this. So to be turned into a fluffy word or something that people turn against, you think, how? Because breathing, it just seems to be quite an obvious thing of this is going to help my life, this is going to benefit me.
100%. And like you say, on a scientific level, it's tapping straight into your nervous system. So it is one of the best things you can do if you feel panicked, is to take some deep breaths.
I do love people that have a spiritual nature and talk in a spiritual way, but when they combine it with the science and explain this is what it's going to do for your brain, this is what it's going to do for your central central nervous system and so on, then I'm on board all the way then, because I'm like, well, I can do my own research on that. I can see what doctors are saying, scientists are saying. Do doctors, because sometimes obviously with nutrition, you know, nutritionists and doctors have big fights and so on, but would a doctor ever, a good doctor, send somebody to a breathwork specialist?
I think I've had a few people come to me lately that said their doctors have suggested that they do
Good.
meditation.
Good, okay.
But I think it's, again, I think in a few years' time, people may be talking about breath work the way they talk about yoga and meditation.
Brilliant,
I think it's like on this, it's just sort of starting out, if you know what I mean, to be more like recognised and talked about. And I mean, like, people are like, how can you teach someone to breathe? And I'm like, actually, you know, most of us are only using about 60-70% of our lungs, like day to day. We're not breathing fully at all or properly. So we all need to start to breathe
would
better.
it be all day when you check in with yourself, how am I breathing, how am I getting on?
Yeah.
And that's when you start doing a few of your exercises and so on.
Yeah, so I say to people, before you start doing any breathing exercises, the first thing you need to do is breath awareness, which is where, like you say, you just throughout the day stop and just check with your breath, like, am I even breathing? Because we hold our breath loads, especially if we're stressed. I do it sometimes. I feel like I'm barely breathing at all. Do you know what I mean? And you just think, like, where can I feel my breath? How quickly am I breathing? And then just start to just slow your breath down, deepen your breath, start to breathe into your diaphragm. And just doing that like a few times a day, if you start doing that regularly, you'll naturally will start to breathe better, you know?
I was just reflecting on yesterday. We had a really busy day on the farm, and I did, for the first time in a long time, just take a second out, because everything was getting a bit on top of me, because the horse box needed doing, the shipping container had to get this ready for podcasting and Chris's workshop, and it was just, I was moving 100 miles an hour and I was thinking 100 miles an hour, and I just took 5 seconds out. I probably did like 10 breaths in and out, and completely what it did for me was something very, very special. It just grounded me to that point. And it was, as I started walking towards doing the horse box, I was breathing towards it, and I felt different to how I've been feeling for the previous hour. Just letting it mount.
Say to people, like, literally sometimes all you need is 3 deep breaths and you feel like so much better, you know? You
make a much more clear decision as well in that moment. I felt it when Chrissy, we've been doing the wood cutting, and I was just rubbish with the jigsaw yesterday, and I was doing like squiggly lines, and I just put it down. I was like, I'm rubbish at this. I took a breath and I was like, I didn't need to do that, did I? It really is. When they say take a breath, there's a lot of science behind it.
I mean, how long have we been saying, like, you know, when you're kids, if you fell over or you're upset, it's like, take a deep breath, don't we? We always
it's
say
ingrained
that,
in our
like,
nature. It's ingrained in our sort of ancestral we just lose ourselves to this, don't we? I blame social media. We're all inside here at the minute. I point into my head people that are listening.
Well, I say to people, like, I say what breathwork does is it draws you down from your head back into your body, back into your heart, you know, because
healthiest
we
place to
spend
be.
so much time in our heads, and it just helps to just pull you back down, just anchor you back into your body, you know.
What are you doing at these retreats then? How long are people there for? Is it a few days or?
So it's the first one in September. It's women's only, this one.
God damn it.
I am, you know, I've got all these ideas of things I want to do, but it's not just breathwork. There's other stuff that I'm bringing in, like Reiki and other stuff as well. But I would love to just do a complete breathwork retreat at some point. Get the ice baths there as well.
Nice. Wim Hof on the sidelines. Need you in here, mate. It's got a bit too cold. That's awesome. So have you filled all the spaces for this?
Yeah, for that one,
Wow, that's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah, that was good.
That's incredible. And have you got an agenda then? Like, you've got time scales of everything, what you're doing, the morning, breakfast and all that?
I got a full-on itinerary.
There is the word. Thank you. Awesome. So what... Do you have a lot of free time in that as well? Do you know, after you've done your sort of healings, do they get time to go and relax and experienced that sort of newfound knowledge?
Yeah, so the girl I'm doing it with, Alina, she's a holistic therapist as well, but I said, we need to get that balance right of giving them things to do with us guiding them, but then also allowing them that time to reflect and process and just be with themselves, so hoping we've got the right balance of that. But yeah, I was saying to Chrissy earlier, I did a breathwork session a little while ago online, and I really stepped out of my comfort zone and did this banging dance tunes. Like the soundtrack was that I wanted people to feel like they were in Ibiza, having an amazing time,
bit of drum and bass,
high,
dirty
so
garage.
Like, just gonna do it, and hopefully that's the vibe that's gonna come across. And at the end, there was a girl, and she's like, I literally feel like I've done about 10 pills, partied all night, and now I just feel so blissed out. And I was like, yes!
That's where we wanted to be.
I've got this vision of being able to combine a breathwork session with live music.
Wow.
Like dance music at some point.
Could you do it with any music, breathwork?
Yeah, I think, again, it depends on the theme and the vibe you're going for. But for that one, I just wanted people to feel joyful, because it's not always about the serious stuff and going deep and releasing all this trauma. Sometimes you just want people to feel lifted, elevated and joyful, and as well. So
I think that's what when I was younger put me off meditation, because I was always going in with this mindset of I needed a crazy experience from it, and when I didn't reach those realms that I'd tasted before, I thought I'd lost my superpower or something. But actually what you've got to see it as, you're constantly working on yourself. It's sort of a brush your teeth, have a shower, do some breath work, do some meditation. It's just a part of being human.
But that's what I say to people when they're like, I haven't got time. I'm like, when you have a shower, when you clean your teeth, check in with yourself.
Yeah.
You don't have to be sitting under a mountain, under a tree on top of a mountain, all zen.
I mean, you look good on Instagram.
Well, it looks good. But you can meditate anywhere.
Yeah.
And I've got dead good at it now. I was doing a bit of yoga and breath work the other day at home, and the boys were because I've got 2 little boys, tearing around me, wrestling, fighting, so loud. And I was just and my husband came, he's like, how can you do that in here? How are you doing that? And I was like, I just can now. I could just switch off, but it's taken a long time to get to that point.
Can't wait to be there with you this morning, because Ella, my baby, she's been really giving it some, and it's 4 a.m, but Chrissy puts her in between us, and she's just got this massive infatuation to my face. I think it's the beard and the different textures of it all, but she's just grabbing it and pulling it around, because she strokes off really softly, and because they get very excited, then it's like, oh God, you've got me. But I need to just learn to breathe through it. So could we do a little bit then of breath work? That'd be fantastic.
And just something to calm.
Do I need to know
down.
If we're going for an audience now then, and something sort of generalised, could we do something for everybody?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Brilliant.
So if you're doing conscious connected breathwork session, there's contraindications that come with that, because it's a powerful breathing technique. So if you've got issues with your blood pressure or anything, I'd go through all of that with anyone anyway, but that's why it's important. You can do it at home on your own, but I think it's always better to have a facilitator there with you that's going to hold the space for you. Just make sure you're safe. But yeah, what we'll do now is just be something really gentle that anyone can do. So
nice.
That's cool. Yeah.
Even driving, if they're listening to this.
Or
do they have to close their eyes?
Driving over here. I did a little. Because I said to Dental, I don't really like driving, so I quite often do a bit of breathwork in the car.
Oh, bro. Okay, so you can do this anywhere, guys.
Maybe don't close your eyes.
Don't close your eyes driving, please. I'll have a big lawsuit on my hands.
But we'll do some now.
I'm ready. I'm in.
So what we're going to do is I'm just going to invite everyone just to place a hand on their heart or over their chest, and just one on their tummy. And if you feel okay to do so, I just find it much easier to breathe when I've closed my eyes. So we just take a nice deep breath in through your nose, and then just let out a nice sigh. And as you sigh out, just close down your eyes. And we're beginning now just to kind of return to ourselves, so revert that gaze inwards. So we're just kind of closing off from that chaotic world around us, and we're just coming back to our bodies, And back to that still place that we all have. So we all have that stillness within us, but we just lose touch with that. So we're just going to check in with our breath now. So without trying to change it in any way, just start to observe your breath. So you're just noticing where you can feel that breath as it comes in and out of the body. And it might be really subtle, so it might be really small movements, and that's okay. So we're not trying to judge it in any way, we're just allowing it to be as it is. So you might feel the air coming in and out through your nose, or you may feel a bit of movement in your chest or in your tummy. And then we say the breath is like a mirror for what's going on inside us, so on what's going on in our internal world. So if we're breathing quite quickly, then sometimes that's because we're quite stressed. Or maybe if we're breathing quite slowly, then maybe we're quite calm. But just check in with the pace of your breath. So just noticing how quickly or slowly you're breathing. And also the depth of your breath, so where that breath is reaching in your body. And then just notice as well how the breath appears. So it might be quite smooth, or maybe it feels a bit staggered. And we're now going to start to breathe into our tummy. So we're breathing in and out through the nose, but we're just going to start expanding our tummy now. So breathe in and just lift your tummy up into that hand. So we're just expanding the tummy a bit like a balloon. And then allow that breath to move up, so the ribs move up and out. And just send that breath all the way up into the chest. So just feel that expansion in the body. So you should feel the front of the body opening up. You should also feel the sides of the body moving and opening, and also the back, because a big portion of the lungs is in the back of the body. And just start to slow your breath down now. And smooth the breath out. And you can check in with the sound of your breath as well, so you can listen to the sound of your breath. But just a few deep breaths, just in, just opening up that diaphragm, that tummy, all the way up to the collarbone. So we don't want to force the breath, we still want it to feel quite natural. And then we're going to start to breathe in now, just for a count of 4 through the nose. And then we're going to hold our breath for a count of 7, and then we're going to breathe out through our mouths for a count of 8. So I'm going to count us through a couple of rounds now. So just breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4, and just hold the breath now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and breathing out through the mouth. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and just keep this going. And I want you to think of something now that you'd like to let go of, something you'd like to release, and as you exhale, just let that go. So breathing in for 4, holding the breath, and then sighing away for 8. And then just check in with your breath again now. Just return to your normal breathing and just notice whether your breath's changed at all, and also how you feel. And then when you feel ready, you can just blink open your eyes, you can just come back to the space. It's just a really quick, couple of minutes.
That was... Oh, I am literally speechless. I really, really needed that.
Yeah.
There's a point in there where you were saying check in with yourself on how you breathe in, how slow your breathing is. And I was reflecting I wonder what normal breathing is though. I didn't quite know that.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, I'm quite slow with it. I think I'm being quite controlled. But then when you got me to do it to a certain time, that was quite hard.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that made me think maybe I was very fast in my breathing into what I thought. Does that make sense?
And we all have a different breathing pattern for every emotion. And that's unique to every single person. So the more we get to kind of know our own breathing and know our own bodies, the more we can check in with ourselves and understand what we need, you know. But breath holds are a bit of a love-hate thing as well. I think we automatically panic, don't we, when we hold our breath?
Yeah.
So I feel like you kind of have to slowly build up to them, but I really enjoy them now because I literally feel like I just fall back into them and I'm just being held by the breath. So I feel like it's like a moment of just complete stillness in your body.
Yeah.
But you have to just open up and surrender to it and just go, yeah, I'm okay, you know, because you're not going to die. Your body will naturally take
knows
a
what
breath,
to do. It goes for it. It
Yeah.
says, we're doing it. I'm sorry. You can't fool me. That was really explorative. Yeah, very grounding as well. I was really enjoying that. How long were we doing that for, do you think? 5 minutes?
Probably less than that, I'd say. I don't know, a few minutes maybe.
The time becomes obsolete in that too, doesn't it? You get completely lost in it.
Yeah.
How long can you go up towards in sessions?
So if I do a session with someone, we normally have a 75-minute session, but a part of that will usually be like a guided meditation. I might bring a little bit of movement in as well. I quite like to bring in a bit of movement. Sometimes we do journaling, so don't just do breath work. But if we do conscious connected breath work where we're lying down, then we usually breathe for 30 to 40 minutes.
I mean, because I was just thinking of that 2 minutes I got to spend then, how much that did for me.
Yeah.
And I really don't spend enough time, I know that in myself, on focusing on things like that. So what 30 minutes would do, I can't wait to find out.
Yeah.
It is just hard to find that space sometimes, but I think when you know you need it, and somewhat in my life at the moment I know we could do with it, it would really transform how we're approaching life and how we're approaching our day-to-days. So I hope people listening to this can check in with themselves, and if they are in the precipice of feeling low at the minute, anxious, angry, whatever it is, stressed, this could be a big tool for them to start exploring the path of.
100%.
So if they want to do that, where do they go? Who do they need to come to, and where do they look?
Well, if you want to breathe with me, then I'm on Instagram or Facebook. So Selenite Wellbeing is my business name. But there's lots of apps out there you can get. There's Calm. We mentioned a couple earlier, didn't we?
Yeah.
I've got a couple on my phone. But I would say I do have people come to me that say it's so different having someone hold space for you and facilitate you and guide you through that, you know. So
would you ever look at doing your own app?
Potentially,
or an audio book or something.
Yeah, I said to you about doing some recordings.
Yes,
if you've got them. But if you don't live nearby, I do usually do once a month I do a session online, and that's just donation based because I just want that to be open to everyone to just come along. So
and it is priceless.
Yeah.
Feeling good, feeling happy.
I think we have to really change the way we look at self-care as well. You know, as at the minute I feel like it's still, people think it's like a luxury, you know, it's an indulgence, but it's not. It's something we have to be doing every single day, especially if we really want to show up for ourselves and we really want to improve.
And like we said in the podcast, it betters the world around you.
Exactly.
Doing good onto yourself is going to help all those that you love and care about. They want you to be your best version, and that promotes them to be theirs. Mate, I'm all in. You've sold it today. 100%. Any good books as well? Anything to read? Have you?
There's loads of books out there, but I would, as a starting point, read Dan Brule, I can't ever say his name, Just Breathe.
I've heard this. My friend Zach, who you do the other podcast with, said he'd been reading Breathe.
Right. It's an interesting one because he kind of puts himself in different situations himself. So he does a lot of research where he's the guinea pig, do you know what I mean? So I could talk to you for hours about breathwork, but there's this whole debate between mouth and nose breathing as well. So a lot of us breathe through our mouths day to day.
Is it a vicious debate? Do people get on at each other?
No, it's just with there's a lot of science behind breathing being much better when you breathe through your nose and not through your mouth, especially at night. You know, if people breathe through their mouth at night. So I've got a lot of people I know within my breathwork circle that tape their mouths at night, so to help them breathe through their nose. But he goes into all of that in the book. So he tapes his nose closed for like, I don't know how long it is, a long time, like 20 days or something, and then shows you like scientifically what it's done to his body at the end of it, just to kind of show you the benefits of.
Don't do this at home, kids.
No, don't.
No, that is absolutely fascinating. I like people that are guinea pigs and go into it full wholehearted. I'm going to take this away from it. Yeah, that's incredible. Because it's funny, isn't it? Like you say, it's always a bit irony when people argue over something where they're actually wanting to help people. And I've seen it a lot in the nutrition. I'm very interested in nutrition myself. And you see those in them circles where they have debates and it just turns into a big firing match. And then I have seen it in spiritual circles. Like, no, I know how to help people the most. I can heal the most. And it's like, what we're really promoting here, what you're really wanting to do is give a hand to people that are suffering. So don't argue people that are also trying to put their hand out, but if they're doing it in the wrong way, give love and compassion to how that can help them.
Yeah, I mean, I've come up against it just doing breath work because within the kind of field, and I'm not saying everyone's been like it at all, but I think with some yoga teachers, for instance, I think obviously there's pranayama, there's the yogic breath work. But with the conscious connected breath work, it's very different practice. It's a totally different kettle of fish. So I think I've had that where people just think that's what I'm doing. And just kind of, you know, but I'm doing something different. But even if I am using some of that, who cares? Do you know what I mean?
Doesn't need to be a battle royale. Because if that's helped your tribe and your people and the people that were suffering come on your path and gone, do you know what? This has transformed my life, superior to how it's ever been. But somebody's found that through poetry or they found it through yoga or whatever it's been. Wonderful. There's a place and a space for all of these things to 100%. Coexist.
And I'm massively into like working together as well. I love collaborating with people and working, you know, lifting other people up. You know, I don't like to see people. I work with a lot of people that do similar lines of work to me, but don't see them as competition. You know, I just want to work with them, and you're stronger together.
It'll take you on doing that. It'll put you in the right stead for it, because it's becomes toxic, doesn't it, in the end? If you just go, no, I want to be the one that people come to for that help. I've felt and faced it before in my younger days. Me and my friend, I was putting out poetry videos of like positivity and kindness and love, and he was doing more just talks, but both of us recognised it one day. It was like, it was because of the views. That's where it becomes toxic. You're comparing in terms of that, and when you start looking at just the view number rather than who's viewing, you get very lost in it, I think.
As well with the Instagram thing as well, it's like you get obsessed with followers, like how many followers have you got?
It's
but
wild.
Actually, is it quality or quantity?
Because
if you've got a shitload of people following you that actually aren't really interested in what you're doing, there's no benefit to that, is there? So the world of social media. Don't let it get over the world of social media.
It's the new age, isn't it? And it has to be spoken about in care and respecting the fact it exists, and people aren't just gonna lose it or aren't just gonna say, no, don't do that anymore. It's finding harmony with it and going, I'm gonna use it to my ability, use it to my best interest, and not getting lost in the dirty side of it. Because there is a dirty side. Amazing. I mean, I'm gonna wrap it because
go for it.
You got places to be, I gotta play dad, and we've been in here a good hour and a half. We thought you were going to do half an hour, didn't you? You just before this, going to do about 20 minutes, innit? No, that's not how these goes ever. But do let people know one more time where they can find your stuff and what's coming up for you.
So I've got a session at the end of the month in Ripley, down the road.
Rippers.
And then I've got a couple of sessions. I've got one in Nottingham and one in Derby coming up in July, which are going to be group breathwork sessions that you can come along and experience it. So all the details for them will be on my Instagram or my Facebook.
Fantastic.
So,
guys, Thank you for being here. You've been a part of the Old Farm Bus, Back of the Bus Sessions podcast. Last thing to leave you on, what do we say to one another? Be nice to each other, you beautiful buggers. One love. Peace out. Thank you for being here.
Keep breathing.
Yeah, breathe on.